Hello and welcome. My name is Jim. We're going to be talking about these different Festool clamps that go with this MFT table here. Today on
Kilimanjaro.
With the introduction of this clamp, Festool now makes 3 different types of hold-down clamps to go with their MFT tables. Or as you can see, this isn't actually a true MFT table. This is my own workbench that I've got an MFT top built into, some of the rails going around the side, but I've also got a solid part over here and some big heavy boards holding it all together. Makes a really nice centerpiece of my workshop. All these work with any top that has a 20mm hole in it, even if it's not actually made by Festool. So if you have another type of workbench, these should work just fine if they've got that hole size in them. They work a little bit differently. So this is a screw type. So this is a pretty standard type of clamp, particularly on welding tables. It's got a little hook on the bottom, kind of like a C-clamp, and then this part can slide up and down, and then you screw it to tighten it. This has a little piece of plastic here, obviously not going to be on one of the welding ones, and that'll prevent you from marring up one of your work pieces. So you just slide that in the hole, slide that down, and tighten it up. Pretty straightforward. This is the newest one. So this one requires a very precise hole size. So if you don't have an MFT table or your MFT table is a little bit worn out, this one might not work so well. But you just slide in the hole, hit it down, flip the lever, and you're all set to go. This one here is the old quick release style. Similar to this one here. Slide it in the hole, slide that down, pull that back, and you're ready to go. This one I find to be a little bit finicky though. If you don't have it set just right, or this isn't pushed down all the way, it doesn't necessarily clamp as hard as you'd like. This one takes a little bit more time, but because it's got such a big travel on the screw, you can clamp a board down even if it's not positioned just right. The other thing that's nice with this one that neither one of these other two will be able to deal with, if a board has a bit of a cup or a bow in it and it's not pressing right down flat, these ones may not be able to clamp it so well because it'll just unbend. This one you have a lot more flexibility in the depth of pressure of clamping that this one will provide. I want to actually measure each one of these clamps and see how much holding force it has. The more holding force, generally the better, particularly if you can adjust it and go up really high if you want or not so high if you don't want. So let's try this one first. So this goes in, pushes down, and locks. We got about 60 pounds. Let's try that again. That time we got about up to 80 pounds. It's not too bad. So this one, as I push the lever all the way forward, it goes up to about 380 pounds, but then when I release it and it catches, it goes down to about 330 pounds. It's a lot better than this one. So you can see with this one, I have a lot of control about how much pressure I put down. It's at 275 now. All the way up to about 510 pounds. So that's quite a lot of force. That's going to hold the thing that you're working on really nicely. It's almost 5 times more than this one here. It's a little disappointing that this clamp doesn't put out more clamping pressure. It is the easiest to use, although it is quite expensive as well. These are about $50 a piece. These are also $50 a piece. These are $50 for 2. So when you're trying to decide which clamps to get, I would definitely get a couple of these. They're definitely the cheapest, they hold the most, they're still pretty easy to use. If you have the money for it, I would also get a couple of these too because they are very quick. And I'd probably skip these. These used to be my go-to ones, but these are quicker to use, they're easier. Yes, they don't put out as much power, so if you're kind of using a hand plane on something, really reefing on it for some reason, these probably aren't going to be the ones you're going to use. But if you're just doing sanding or something like that, these are super quick and easy to use. For other tasks where you are reefing on it, you want to use one of these because this really puts out the most hold down pressure. It also can be used with all the rails that go around the sides of the MST or the guide tracks with the track saw. So it's pretty versatile that way. There is one other clamp that Festool makes for the MFTs, and I'll show you that now. Finally, we get to this clamp. This is far and away my favorite clamp. I use this one all the time, and it's super useful. It's one of the main reasons I think to buy a table like this or to put holes like this into your tabletop. So this clamp works differently than the others. It doesn't hold down from the top, it holds down from the side. So the way it works is you have one dog that goes on this side, put your workpiece up against that, put this in the other side, press against there, flip that lever. Now you have access to the whole top, so if you want to sand the part, you don't have a clamp getting in the way. You can put dominoes in the side here, do lots of things without having the clamps get in the way. This is super useful also because it's holding from both sides rather than just being a point that's pushing down. it's really hard, rock solid on there. There's also sometimes you can get into situations where it's pushing up a little bit. They have these knobs that come with them. They go from the underside, screw into the bottom of here, really hold it down tight so that it doesn't pop up. Super useful to have. I really like that these are pretty low profile. They're a little bit less than 3/4 of an inch thick, so if you've got a 3/4 inch board, when you're sanding that, you won't hit the top of that. I do wish they were a little less than a 1/2 inch, because frequently I'm working on a 1/2 inch board and they don't, I'll hit the top of this. You can see I've sanded that down a little bit over time. In that instance though, the easiest thing to do is just put some 1/4 inch shims under the board, raise it up, then there's no problem have it. So if you're gonna get some clamps, if you just got your MFT, I would certainly get a couple of these guys here. I would also get, so Festool has their end stops. A bunch of different other companies make these types of dogs here, which slide into the same holes and have threads on the top, so you can screw a board down. You can put, have more of these. If you frequently, I'll run into a situation where I want to put a board like that, drop that in there, and then be able to press up against it. So that works really nicely if you have a couple extra of these. So if you just got your MFT and you're looking for some clamps, I'd recommend getting 2 pairs of these, 2 of these, and 2 of these. I'd skip these for now. If you get those, you should have plenty of clamps for anything you need to hold down, and you'll have these nice quick clamps if you're in a hurry, and you'll have these for sanding parts, and these for when you really need to hold something down really tight. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you've got some other clamps, I know there's some third-party ones out there that people like, leave a comment about those below.